Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and I am here today to share with you the turmoil and developments that are flying fast and furious in the halls of Lucasfilm. It's hard to even know where to begin because I have a lot of information to give you. In particular, I have news about the reported cancellation of Rangers of the New Republic, a fascinating update on what's going on with Kennedy behind the scenes, and something incredibly juicy that, if true, could change the direction of Star Wars for good. Now, the disclosures I'm about to share with you started with me reaching out to a relatively new contact at Disney and/or Lucasfilm, trying to get to the bottom of a particular rumor I'd heard from my usual sources, and what came back to me was far more than I had dreamed of. But I want to get one thing very clear before we begin today. I report these things I'm told by contacts as rumors because in general, while I trust my sources, I can never know personally if these things are true. If I were in the position to examine documents, to personally speak to the people at hand, or personally witness certain incidents, well then I'd report on what I'm telling you as fact. But I'm very upfront regarding the fact that I cannot personally verify these things, and therefore I do report them as rumors, which means that some of them may not pan out. Sadly, there are a lot of stupid people on the internet, or at least in some cases, jealous people and brazen liars out there who try to make out the future ruler of the earth as dishonest because some rumors do not pan out. Well, no duh, you dumbass dullards. That's why they're rumors. I have to explain this to you, you pinheads? Now, I have a stable of sources that I've worked with for a long time that I have high confidence in. There are newer sources that I remain wary of, and there are walk-in sources I've never worked with before that I present to you with a high degree of skepticism. And whenever I have a rumor video, short of betraying the source's identity, I try to tell you, is this an established source, a brand new source, and how much salt should you take with this particular report? To that end, I've got a lot to talk about today. So this particular video you'll want to watch all the way to the end, because there's a hell of a lot going on at Lucasfilm according to two independent sources, one of which led me to the other. That said, as always, what follows is information presented to me by several sources that I cannot independently verify, and so I'm presenting it solely as rumor, and I urge you to take it with a grain of salt. And in particular, one of these sources is relatively new, and therefore I ask you to take what they say with a whole lot of salt, as this could possibly be disinformation meant to discredit me, which is perfectly fine in the final analysis. If that happens, as one day it surely will, it will at least confirm that when I say a third party gave me this information, I am telling the truth. So here we go, folks, but take it from me. You will want to watch this video to the end because the most important piece of information is there. So this story began when I was sent the following information. Quote, breaking. Everyone who works for Lucasfilm cannot talk now, as comms frozen till they get an announcement in a week of how they will reorganize under Disney to make money. If they are caught spreading rumors or talking to others about gossip, they are fired. Unquote. Interesting. This echoed earlier reports I had reported in the last couple of weeks that Disney was requiring employees to share all their social media accounts and to bring in their phones for examination, as they were trying hard to crack down on all the leaks going on in the world, namely leaks to me, I would imagine, as I tend to report most of them as far as I can tell. So when I heard this, I reached out to a newer source, one who claims to have some extensive access inside the halls of Disney. I said, hey, blank, name redacted, I'm hearing all sorts of rumblings, including a communication blackout at Lucasfilm Limited, as an announcement is coming maybe next week of new steps they're going to take to try and get profitable. Don't know if you can comment, but anything at all would be welcome, unquote. A couple of days later, I received this reply, and I want to add at this juncture that I'm heavily redacting and slightly rewriting this part to protect the identity of this source, though I am not changing any of the relevant facts. Quote, I'm sorry that I have not been in communication for a substantial amount of time. After Chapek decided to let the Running Wild episode with Gina air, Kat went off the deep end. She has been on a complete rampage for weeks. However, Iger and Chapek stepped in and prohibited Kathleen Kennedy from firing anyone in the office she thinks may harbor good feelings toward Gina Carano. On to current business. Those rumors are absolutely true. Although I do not know the specifics of these steps, almost everyone in the upper echelon have been in closed-door meetings for the last week. No one will comment on anything said during those meetings at all, unquote. Then this source implied that Kennedy is still around with an anecdote about Kennedy claiming that, given Dave Filoni's newly confirmed status as executive creative director at LFL, quote, Kat did hint at not being happy that she is not the sole navigator of the direction in which Lucasfilm will be taking in the near future. Also, there have been directives to not speak about Rangers of the New Republic under pain of death, as it has now been shelved by Dave and John, unquote. Now it's interesting that I received this information a day before the story leaked in another publication that Rangers of the New Republic had been put on hold, news that rattled me to the core. Because obviously, if Favreau had canceled Rangers of the New Republic, that seemed to me an indication that the rumored talks with Gina Carano about returning to Lucasfilm had broken down, and it was now set that Gina would not return. Folks, I've said it many times before. I am trying to do what I can to help save Star Wars. But the damage Disney has done to Star Wars, not only with substandard scripts and egregious mistreatment of Luke Skywalker and other classic characters, but also firing Gina Carano and spitting repeatedly in the faces of fans who dared to complain about the substandard product they were being sold, has severely divided the fandom and forced many fans to abandon Star Wars in anger and despair. So at this point, things are so fragile in my view that any more bad news could be fatal to the franchise. For example, casting Brie Larson as Mara Jade Skywalker would be the last straw to a lot of the final diehard fans clinging to hope for Star Wars, driving them away forever. Fans have made it clear they do not like Brie Larson or the toxic brand of intersectional feminism she has come to represent. Casting Brie Larson would be a clear sign to fans that Disney doesn't give a shit what fans want. When they're slapped, they'll take it and like it. Thing is, the state of Star Wars is so fragile right now, any setbacks at all may be enough to make Star Wars go into the light. And Gina Carano not coming back to Star Wars could also be one of those final straws that breaks the fandom's back. So I was in despair at this point, frankly. But something this source said as a wrap-up to their communication got me to thinking. This source concluded with, Filoni had gone to upper management, informed them that Rangers of the New Republic had been shelved, and scolded them, saying, well, when you fire the damn star, you kill the damn show. John was writing it for Gina, no show. After I was told this, I was feeling pretty miserable. I was working on a video to reveal this info when it broke generally on Twitter. Rangers of the New Republic has been put on hold. So I stewed on this for a while. An edict not to talk about Rangers of the New Republic had been issued at Lucasfilm, according to my previous source. They did not want this getting out. But why? Surely if that's the case, that's the case. Not talking about it won't change anything, as surely people are going to notice that Rangers of the New Republic isn't in production anymore. But then it hit me. This is not a cancellation. This is a negotiating tactic. The fact that John and Dave have shelved Rangers of the New Republic is very telling. If Disney had canceled Rangers, that would be a clear sign that they are giving up on getting Gina Carano back into the fold. But since it was Dave and John canceling the show, this to me is Dave and John going all in on a poker game with upper management. I don't believe Rangers is dead yet. It's my feeling Dave and John are telling the two Bobs, who I'm told are referred to as the killer bees inside Disney, hey, this is serious. You want this for Disney Plus? You'd better do everything humanly possible to get Gina Carano back. The rumored meeting with Dave Filoni leads me to this conclusion. The announced cancellation of Rangers is a negotiating tactic, but that said, they are not bluffing. Rangers is a show for Gina, period. Without Gina, no Rangers. Do I think Disney will let Rangers die when Disney Plus is desperate for programming to bring in subs to help them keep up with HBO Max as it explodes in growth? Oh, hell no. I'm sure the attitude inside upper management is, we shall double our efforts to get Gina back. To which Filoni replied, I hope so for your sake, Bob. The fans are not as forgiving as I am. Regardless, however, I was mulling over how to comment on this latest development when the same source came back to me positively exultant, rejoicing. So, folks, here I was in the pit of despair, contemplating the breakdown of talks with Gina Carano, when I saw this. Quote, big news! Holy shit news! I have to tell someone this. Iger is not, I repeat, not renewing Kathleen Kennedy's contract as head of Lucasfilm, but she will be allowed to finish the Indiana Jones project, unquote. At that point, the source expressed some fear about being around the office when Kennedy is informed of her contract status because, quote, when the announcement happens, Kat will most likely go completely insane. I can't even express the amount of tears of joy that are falling in this office, unquote. So once again, another layer of information fog is wafted over the news of Kennedy's status. Though all of my sources have agreed that Kennedy is out or on her way out, here is another take from someone allegedly inside the company telling us all that Kennedy is still there, but she is not long for that Lucasfilm world. One of my usual sources, secured through my Hollywood network of spies, knowing nothing of what I was told by this source inside Disney and/or Lucasfilm, independently verified a lot of what I've been told. My Hollywood spy claims, quote, we've been talking to source number 1, source number 2, and a few others most of the day. As we understand it, Ranger's time slot for filming was canceled. The show itself is on a shelf. It all rides on Gina. John has made it clear he won't do the show without her, and as far as everyone understands, Disney is still trying to get her back. All the people we talked to says KK is not over Star Wars anymore. It's not clear if she will be over Indy 5. Source number 2, name redacted, though this is a very highly placed source, folks, told us they are not going to make Kennedy take a walk of shame. That's just not going to happen. She will be quietly moved out. While we can't really tell how public any of this will be, there are some major changes coming at Lucasfilm. We've been told outside John's projects, nothing is safe, unquote. Well, in terms of that, and this is the biggest rumor out of all of these rumors, so buckle up and hold on to your hats for this one, folks. My news source, and you should absolutely take this with a lot of salt, told me, quote, okay, more good news. The big G, George Lucas, exclamation point, was just here with John and Dave in a meeting with the Killer Bees. The big G wants more input on Star Wars going forward and is in talks to put a financial stake back into Lucasfilm Limited. If this happens, we could be looking at a new trilogy bankrolled by the big man himself. Unquote. When I heard that, my jaw dropped. Holy shit. Talk about being plunged into the depths of despair, then elevated to the heights of elation. The rumored fact that George Lucas was spotted at Lucasfilm in a meeting with Iger and Chapek fits in with the media blackout being imposed at Lucasfilm. This source confirmed that my other source was correct, that meetings are ongoing as we speak about a new direction for Lucasfilm, a new emphasis on increasing profits as Kennedy is blamed for the decline in Star Wars. Part of that rumored new direction may well be George Lucas himself returning to set things right with a new trilogy. At least on the surface, it all tentatively hangs together. And this is coming from multiple sources, mind you, each with a different piece of the puzzle. Pieces that I have attempted to weave together in a theory of what's really happening at Lucasfilm. So there you have it, my friends. This is what I've been sitting on for days. It's been driving me insane that I was unable to bring this video to you before now, but circumstances have kept me silent until this moment. In all honesty, I don't know what to make of all this, but at least as far as Star Wars is concerned, there is still hope, my friends. There is still hope. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.